This video is sponsored by FilmConvert. Hey everyone, Flo from Off to Lens here, and today I want to talk about my set of MEIKE S35 Prime Cine lenses. I've started using these lenses more than 2 years ago, and to this day they are still some of my favorite ones. Since I recently received the last lens of the set, the 100mm, I thought it would be a good time to make an overall review of the set. In this video, I will talk about my experience shooting with them, as well as their pros and cons. As always, before I start, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's get into it. Back in 2019, I bought the 25mm MFT version to go with my BMPCC 4K, and I really loved the image that I got, especially for the price. It also happened to be my first proper modern cinema lens. Then a bit more than a year later, MEIKE reached out to me asking if I wanted to test out their new Super 35 line of cinema lenses. Since I love the MFT version and I was now shooting with the BMPCC 6K, I said yes. And for the past 2.5 years I've been getting and using those lenses regularly, and I really enjoy them. Filming with primes is always a nice experience, and they give you that look and character that standard lenses cannot really compete with. Now if you're interested in one in particular more than the others, feel free to watch my individual reviews. And as always, all the gear will be listed in the description as well. My set consists of 5 lenses. The 18mm, the widest, the 25mm, my favorite, the 35mm, the first one I got, the 50mm, and the latest, the 100mm. There is also a 75mm, but I never really felt the need to get that focal length, as I shoot 90% of my content with the 25 and 35mm, and as a short telephoto or portrait lens, the 50mm does very well too. Plus I knew that the 100mm will be coming at some point too. This last one is interesting because I wasn't too sure that 100mm would be usable for my type of work. I thought it might be too long for faces and not long enough as a telephoto lens for compression, but I'm glad that I have it and was very pleased with the shots that I got. The details and close-ups I was able to get were really nice, and for someone that shoots handheld a lot, it was nice to kind of be forced to use a tripod for once. So basically you can go from 18mm all the way to 100mm, and they are all T2.1, which is great. MEIKE also makes this neat hard case now, and I highly recommend it if you are getting more than a couple of lenses. Plus it always looks better in the eye of a client when you can show up with a proper hard case on set instead of just pulling lenses out of a backpack, for example. Now let's go quickly over what makes them cine lenses. First, the aperture is measured in t-stop, as opposed to f-stop. The markings are on the side, this is for the focus puller to be able to pull focus. The aperture is declicked, which allows you to change aperture seamlessly. There is a long focus throw, which allows for smooth and precise adjustments. And they are pretty much the same size and weight, and also feature the same 77mm filter thread, which makes it easy to swap them and to use matte boxes. In terms of price, depending on the date, currency, and the lens, it is usually around $650 USD per lens. First is the image. I absolutely love the look that these MEIKE lenses have. You can definitely tell that you're using a cinema lens. The colors are great and the bokeh is quite pleasing. They're all reasonably sharp wide open, not too sharp but also not too soft. I would say 2.8 is a sweet spot for me. Smooth focusing. These lenses are very nice to use, especially when paired with a follow focus. The throw is long enough to be precise but short enough to actually use it by hand if you had to. Another bonus of being made for Super 35 sensors is that these MEIKE lenses are relatively small and light for cinema lenses. They are also very well built and give you that premium feel when you are using them, especially if this is your first experience with cineglass. Next is the filter thread. I love that they have a 77 filter thread. This is great and very handy for cine lens, and that means I can use pretty much any filter I already own. For example, I can use my Nisi VND and the whole Swift system. Feel free to watch my review of it if you need more info. It is a near perfect combo with the BMPCC 6K cameras. I found these lenses to be very well balanced on the regular 6K, and especially with the 6K Pro, since I don't need an external monitor or battery pack, so I can be very nimble and the kit isn't actually that heavy. I've used these lenses for documentaries, outdoors, for interviews, and I even used them during short trips, and each time they never got in the way. For the past 2 years, every time I had a documentary shoot, I always made sure to bring at least one MEIKE lens, for interviews, or to shoot in low light, or just to get that cinema lens look and add a bit more character to the piece. And finally, there's barely no focus breathing, which is great, and no vignetting as well. Since I started getting them more than 2 years ago, I've always tried to use them as much as possible, and every time I shared work that was done with these MEIKE lenses, I've always received positive feedback when it came to the look of my images, and especially regarding the grading. As with pretty much all my work, from the first MEIKE MFT lens that I bought to the latest S35 100mm, all my footage shot with the MEIKE lenses was graded using today's sponsor, FilmConvert. I've talked about it on the channel many times before, but FilmConvert enables you to add film color and grain to your videos. There are nearly 20 film stocks to choose from, and you have real film grain which gives you that authentic and organic look. No matter what I was filming, people or landscapes, I've always loved the look that I was able to achieve with my footage shot with these MEIKE lenses, especially using the Kodak 5207 film stock. If you need more info, last year I also made a dedicated video where I discussed my color grading process, so feel free to watch it. And don't forget to check out the link in the description to get 10% off. Of course, these lenses are not perfect. Here are a few cons. The first and biggest con for me is that these lenses are built for Super 35 sensors, and for that reason, they are not as future-proof as lenses that would cover full-frame sensors. That being said, it is the reason that they are more affordable and smaller than their full-frame counterparts. Flares and color shift. Depending on the lens, you can get unwanted flares or color shift, and that can vary in terms of color, shape, and intensity. My 50mm was the worst for that, and the 25mm was a bit too warm, for example. Keep in mind, I use the lenses as soon as they are announced and even sometimes before that, so I'm sure that now the quality and control has been improved over time. Infinity and long distance focus markings. Pretty much all my lenses came misaligned and needed to be adjusted. This is to expect since I make them for different mounts, but a bit more consistency would be appreciated. The good thing is that MEIKE now provides you with the shims and tools to fix this. Now, none of these cons are deal breakers for me, and I would still recommend these lenses since I myself use them for my own projects. After having these lenses for more than 2 years, I've been able to use them on a wide variety of projects in different conditions, and I can honestly say that I really love them and would recommend them to any Super 35 sensor camera owner any day. The 25mm is one of my favorite lenses ever, due to its image, shooting experience, and focal length. If you need a set of modern cinema glass, whether it is your first one or not, and own a Super 35 sensor camera, then the MEIKEs are very hard to beat. The image they produce is beautiful, they're great and easy to use even as a solo operator, and their price is quite competitive for such high quality prime cine lenses. And since I often get asked, as a tip I would start with either the 25 or the 35mm and see how you feel about them. Either of these two focal lengths allow you to film pretty much everything and give you a good idea of the full set. That's it for me for today guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Also feel free to check out my ebook, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking – An Introduction, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions where you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.